don't forget to subscribe for more reviews. Please also like. Thank you.
Hello there everyone, Tom here again, and today we have the privilege of taking a look at the 8th and I suppose 9th package from Agora models for their Optimus Prime. I ask for your indulgence primarily because as I'm doing this, when I originally recorded this, my microphone went kaput and I didn't realize that. So I am going to take this opportunity to voice over this, and hopefully it will be of some benefit to you. What you see on the screen right now is what I'm holding is the TR-801. The little screen thing is the TR-834, and the little white thing you can see there towards the left is the TR-822. And what I believe I'm getting ready to do right now is add a little of the silicone, because I'm going to be using metal screws, and it's silicone, and I've used it forever, and I know you've seen it on the channel, so hopefully it'll work for you here. I never really appreciated getting those commentaries over top of a video, so I appreciate your indulgence. That's the screen. I will hopefully get a microphone back together here before too long. Thank you again for your indulgence. And it's just a little piece of wire mesh, and that's just a little piece of plastic. Now I will tell you, having done both sets 8 and 9, that you have to line these up properly, and the best way to get this to stay on is by using a little bit of glue, which the thing actually recommends, and for you to use that with the open holes pointing up, like that right there. That's exactly how it's supposed to go on, so that you get the seal from the little grommets there on the bottom. Yep, pointing, showing you that it should be going up, or at least that's what I'm thinking, which just so happened to be correct in this instance. I also ask for your indulgence. I'm going to try to do this in one take. At this point, we need to, I'm just dry fitting, right? So you're going to take that off, you're going to add some glue, and as always, I use my Gorilla Glue, which is, the one that has the gel, which makes it so much easier to work with. Honestly, I don't see how people use the liquid super glue on something like this. It would drive me crazy. I know, it's not Ben, what's his name? World of Wayne guy. He has the wipe-on glue with some type of brush, and I think that's just fascinating. But even at that, I think that I personally would prefer the glue here. Just need a little bit more, get it in there, make sure all the pins are coated, and that you have the ability to put the screen down on where it belongs, and everything will be just fine. Alright. Excuse me. So here you see me putting the mesh down. Put the mesh on there. No problems. A little bit more glue just to go over the studs there, just to ensure the fact that the little white piece there, the TR-822, will actually fit where it's supposed to and stay. Getting some glue. And putting a little bit there right on the end. Just making sure that it's going to fit and hold. Pressing down, I actually get a little bit of glue on my fingers here. It's just kind of, sometimes it does that. The only bad thing about the gel is that it does sometimes spread a little bit. Now I'm just adding just a little dollop at the top, just to ensure the fact that it actually stays put. I've got more, I actually ended up putting more glue on these two pieces, both for set 8 and set 9, than I have, I think, anything else. So it wasn't the best thing, but you know, it works, and it's going to be just fine. Now, this is part TR803, and it is going to go onto the leg. There's a particular way that it has to go. And let's see here. Looking at it, I believe I have it upside down. So, yep, this is where I'm showing you the iPad and showing you how it goes, and it's right. You've got to have that part sticking up. So it's good to know I'm consistent. That's the front. That's the part that we're going to be pointing upwards, and that other side, yeah, like that. I guess at this point I'm trying to figure out if that's the right way or not. It only goes in one way, so come on, Tom, you can do it. I have confidence in you. Not only that, but something weird about it, there's the pegs stick out. They're supposed to stick out because we have a collar piece that's going to come and latch onto it here in just a little bit. But the tricky part is actually trying to get it all lined up, and we're going to use PWM 2x6 screws, and it takes, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It takes a grand total of 8 of those screws. As always, we're going from plastic into metal, so to ensure the fact that it goes a little bit easier, we're putting a little silicone in there. It really does help, folks. If you don't do this, sometimes your screws might strip, and it's so much easier to go ahead and just do that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in screws in all these other places. And now, here we are. We have it all together, and you can see quite easily what it looks like. Now we're going to take part TR832, and we're going to take 2 PWB 2x6x8 screws, and we're going to insert them into this section right here. Right there. Alright, screwing it in there, just the way it goes. And there's 2 of them, holding it from the bottom to ensure the fact that it doesn't shift on you. That was actually the hardest part of this part right here, was just trying to make sure that everything worked the way it was supposed to. And am I still recording? I believe I am. Yes, it's just not showing. Okay. All good. So now we're looking at part TR810, and we're going to take these little filters here. They're just little fill-in spaces, and they are TR811s, and they only go in one way. But what does happen, you have to be kind of careful, because they will move on you inside that little groove, and they'll push backwards. So you just have to be mindful of that and make sure the fact that they go in the way they're supposed to, and they go in all the way. Then we take part TR813 and put it in place, and it snaps in place like it's supposed to. And then we take parts, screws, PB268s, and these are the black ones, and they go in, these are the ones that we have flared heads for PB268s and standard screws for PB268s. These are the standards, and they just go in there just like that. There are 5 of them that you will be putting into this place here. So just be mindful of that, and you shouldn't have any problems whatsoever. And, you know, much like everything else, you put one in and then you move to the other side and just keep at it until you have it all the way that you want it. Yep, so here we go with the 3rd screw. I am enjoying this build. I really wish that the microphone had recorded everything, because I know I had some gems in here talking about all sorts of crazy stuff. But, you know, if you watch my channel, then you know I enjoy doing this stuff. But sometimes this pack here, because I didn't really know what I was doing, it took a lot longer than pack 9 did, even though it was the very same thing. Well, maybe because it was the very same thing. I wasn't sure exactly, but that is how that looks, and that is part B. And that is going to join together with the piece that we just created on, and it's going to hold together on those screws that the pointing out things that we had at the very bottom. So we're going to need 2 screws, PWB 268s, just like we did, same screws we had a little bit ago, and we're going to stick with the non-flared end. That piece right there that I'm holding, which is what we just created, right? It's going to sit right there. It's going to line up. Those holes are going to take the studs there, and we're going to flip it over, and we are going to put 2 screws in right there. And again, those are the PWB 2x6/8. I'm just going to look in my little thing here, reach in with my magnetized screwdriver, which they provided, but I magnetized, and we are going to use that. Again, you can see the difference. One has a flared end and one is a regular screw. So we are simply going to use the regular screws. We don't use the flared ends until much later in the build. So yeah, you see the difference there? We're just going to use the regular screws for this. It just takes 2 of them. I'm going to put them in there. Just like that. And since we're going into plastic, there's no need to add any lubricant or anything to make it go in there. Alright, there's one. And there is, I'm screwing in 2 right now. Alright. Maybe I'm not screwing in 2 right now. Alright, I must have had a flared end instead of a flat, regular screw. That's why. But we put that on there, and it does quite well. Screw that one all the way in. Hopefully I'm going to check the tightness on the other one here in just a moment. I will say, I think the screwdriver will make it through the build, but I don't think I'm going to get it in anything else. Now we take part TR805, and we want it orientated, I believe, just like that to go onto this section. And it's connected with multiple different screws, multiple different points, and it just fits right on there like it was made for it. Kind of funny how that is, actually, if you think about it. And we're going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 PWM 2x6s. And those are the little silver screws you see right there. Since we're going into metal, again, with the lubricant, a little silicone there just to help. And again, we don't want to strip the screw, so we are just working on that. And I am going to hopefully do a diagonal pattern here, because that's what we're supposed to do. I don't think that's the right spot to put a screw in. I'm pretty sure I was looking at that and I was like, nope, it's over here. Hey, you know what I always say, folks. If I make a mistake, I try to leave them in there so that you can see. You may well make the same mistake I do. And if you do, hopefully my error can keep you from making your own mistake. So that was my goal anyway, and hopefully I've been successful at that over the years. I don't know, I'm fast approaching 10 years doing this. Can you believe that? I mean, wow. Regardless, looks like we're going to keep putting in some screws. I'm relatively certain this will be the last one I put in on camera, because I don't want to just go crazy with it. And one of the things that bothers me about this build is, see how it's flexing right there? The piece that we made earlier is only held on by those 2 screws. And while we're not going to be, hopefully throwing this thing against the wall or anything, I can point out it is not the most stable thing in the world that I've ever worked with. For example, the smokestack on my arm, on one of the arms, has just completely fallen off. So I'm going to have to re-glue that. I shouldn't have to, but that's neither here nor there. I will. And now I'll go ahead and I'll put in the remaining 4 screws, one there, wherever else they go. Just be aware of the fact that they are going in, and that will end step 5 of this. All right, just like that. Yep, showing where they went in. I guess I had to cut for some reason so that I could. Surely I'm not going to put all these screws in on camera. I just might. Sometimes I do things, and I'm not really sure why. Oh, I see. So these here, why do I have the... Okay, so those 2 come in next. And that is an M 3x8, and you see I'm using my little Allen wrench there. And it's got one of the crimp washers, not the lock washers, the crimp washers. They go in there and they go in there. I'm not exactly sure why they had us do that, but you know what? Whatever. The last thing on this part, before we move on to the next, is we take a PB 268 screw and we're going to put it in right there. And it's literally just screwing it in. Nothing special, just flat out screwing that right in. And that is going to be the end of that section here when we get it all screwed in the way it's supposed to be. And that little section is finished. That's one side of the leg. That's the outer side. So yeah, let's move on to the inner side. Here we're doing the very same thing we did before with the grate and the glue and the collar. I've already got that glued in and in place. I had some issues with that one, primarily because the screen kept moving up on me and it wouldn't seal properly. So once again, I got glue on my fingers, but that's neither here nor there. So that is part, the blue part is TR802. And again, the screen is TR824, and the white piece is TR823. We're going to take that part that I'm working on right now, which is TR804, and we're going to put it in place, and it will be held together with 8 of those silver screws, which are the PWM 2x6s. You know you've got it right when you have the section sticking up there. Excuse me. I'm just continuing to add the screws to it. My dog's wanting me to feed her. She says it's past time for her to eat. I apologize. But I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of those screws in. And now we're looking at part TR806. And that is going to come in, and there's a particular way to add that little grommet there. That little grommet is TR835. And you have to put it on right there. And if you don't, there's really only one way to do it to get it correct, and it's going to set flush against the metal. So yeah, drop that into place just like that, and that is going to be put into place with some more of the silver screws, the PWM 2x6s, and it requires 3, 6, 7, 8 of those as well. So they are going to go all around. Little drop of slick lubricant there. And I'll go ahead and put in another one. Oh, you know what that is? That is the M3x8. There's 2 of those that are going to go in, and they're going to go in with some more of those crimp washers, and they go in there and there. So, there and there. And again, you'll need your Allen key for that. You have to have 2 of those. And those are now all in, and we can see what that piece actually looks like assembled with everything put together. And there's the inner leg, and it looks pretty nice. I'm pleased with it at this point. Last thing we do is just like the other one, we take a PB2 6x8 screw, and we're going to insert that into the comparable section on the other leg, which is right there. We're just putting it in there. We're just making sure it's very nice and solid. Yep, that's what we're doing. Making sure it's really nice and solid. All right. That looks very nice. Screw it down, make sure it's really tight. Not so tight that you strip it, but so tight that it's very snug. That's what you're looking for. Snug, not stripped. Yep. There we go. That should do it. Now we're going to bring in the leg, the leg frame. And now we are going to begin attaching. And we're going to start with, we have to make sure that the wire is good. Make sure we don't crimp the wire. We're going to start with that one, which is C, making sure that that part sticks out, right? And everything is good and solid. Oh, I got a little glue on the exterior when I touched it. It's all right. It's all nice and dry. Everything's nice and pretty. All the screws are where they're supposed to be. And now we have these 4 pegs here that are going to go into those 4 peg holes right there. And I'm pretty sure you have to extend the leg to make that work. And you need specific screws. Those are 4 PB2 3x8s. And they're going to come in. Like I said, you have to extend the leg there. And it's going to go right there. And then you just... I believe it's easier to do that laying it down. But for purposes of the camera, I think I'm going to end up trying to do it standing up, if memory serves. Let's see here. How are we doing this? Move that up a little bit, make sure it's in place. See if we can get this screwed in. And there we go. Is it going in? I don't remember. I think I had to readjust it. Yeah, that one didn't take. Something was off there. I didn't have it lined up properly. So all you have to do is just readjust a little bit. Make sure that, I mean, I had the right screw. Just have to readjust. Make sure everything goes in where it's supposed to. So at this point, because it didn't line up the way I wanted it to, I'm sticking the screw in there first. And I'm trying to make sure I get the correct screw hole there. And I did. And now it's gonna, no I didn't. Like I said, I leave in my errors, which I don't know if anybody else actually does that or not, but I find it quite beneficial to myself to go back and look and see what I did wrong. And, right now I'm just trying to figure out exactly why I can't seem to get it lined up properly. Didn't have this problem on the part 9, but I did on part 8. It would not work properly. And I don't know if you've noticed or not, but taking my sweater off, it got hot in the back room. We were having a really, really warm day, and we were having a bunch of those ladybugs flying around, and man, there were just a crap ton of them. And I'm going to go ahead and put in those other 3 screws right there, and that's what that looks like all taken care of. Next, we're going to bring in our next piece, which is the inner thigh, right? And we're going to line it up, and it's got the same type of things there. Just push it in place, and it is going to be held in place with 4 M 3x10 screws and the TR 838s, which are the crimp washers as well, not the lock washers, the crimp washers. I have had people ask me, why am I not putting those bolts that we use with the Allen wrench, why am I not putting those in oil? Well, if you notice, if you ever look at them, they have the little thread tape on them. I guess it's thread tape. So as a result of that, it will act as a natural lubricant and also act as a sealant so that it doesn't work its way back out. It's kind of amazing the things that we humans have come up with to make our lives a little bit easier to do things, and that's just one of those things. It's really not a difficult thing. It just takes a little bit to get those in there and making sure everything is lined up properly. The tricky part's actually coming up, where we try to put the front on, and I fully admit I was not prepared necessarily for how that worked. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Just be patient. Just a little bit left here before our next cut. I've got 4 of those to put in. Might as well go ahead and do them on camera. Give you all a sense of exactly how long this takes. I know these videos are like 40 minutes each. That's not counting all the editing, the stopping, the working where I just, knock something over or something. It usually takes about 2 hours to do a section new. When I did 9, I did it in about an hour. Again, it was a mirror of this, and I already had a pretty good idea what was going on. I remembered it from one month to the next. So, yeah. All 4 of those are in, and that's what it looks like after all 4 are in solid. And that's where we're at with the leg. So now we need to bring in part part TR 816, and that is going to come in here and be held in place with 4 screws. It can only go in one way. It can only go in one way. And it's going to be held in place with PWB 2/6/8. And those, I believe, are the flare end. Yes, those are the flare end ones. You can tell you need the flare end because of what type of screw hole it's going into. If you look at I don't think I zoomed in on it, but if you look at it, it's got a kind of a flared end for the screw to go into, for it to set flush against. And so that's how I determined we needed the flared end for that. So 4 of those go in there. Going to hold it in place quite securely. Quite securely. Yep, and there's those 4. We still have a little bit of an ankle rocker, so that's a good thing. I would consider that a good thing. Setting that aside, now we're going to bring over 2 particular parts. This would be, let's see, where are my parts? That is part TR 824, and that is part TR 808. So blue is 08 and silver is 24. And you have to put those together. They really only go one way. You can't really mess it up unless you I don't know, start putting something in, making your own screw holes, you can't really mess it up. Goes in just like that, and that is going to be held in place with 4 PWM 2x6. They're just little silver screws, and they go in 4 places: 1, 2, 3, and 4. And as always, you do them on a diagonal pattern. You shouldn't have any problem. Next, that's what that looks like. We're going to set that aside, and now we're going to bring in part, let's see, that is TR809, and in my right hand I have part TR817. These two parts come together kindly like that right there, like that right yes, maybe like that. The directions aren't the easiest to really catch exactly which way it positions itself. So, but when you get it in place, it works just like that, and there's not a problem. Now you're going to use some more of those M 3x8 bolts, and I think we're using the lock washers this time to put that in place, which are the TR838s. As always, you want to do a hexagonal pattern, and in this instance it was easier for me to turn the Allen key up than it was for me to try and do it, all the way around, at least on that one screw. So, something to think about. I know some people have like electric screwdrivers and stuff that can make this work a little easier. This works just fine. Takes a little bit more elbow grease, but it's fine. The point is just getting it all together so that it works the way that it's supposed to. We are almost done here, folks. Not too much left to do. Put the bolts in there, all 4 places, tighten them down, and go from there. Honestly, just getting out of my own way, my fingers there were was pretty much the hardest part of doing that. So all the bolts are in. I'm tightening them down again in a though you can did y'all see that there towards the right of the screen? That was one of those ladybugs flying around on me. Man, they were everywhere. It had gotten warm enough for them to start buzzing around, and they were trying to get out of the house. And I have an old fixer-upper house I've been working on for 5 years, and as a result, there are a few places they can still get in that aren't completely sealed. And boy, let me tell you, here in southern Indiana, they love to come in. Oh, there's one on Optimus's foot. You see that there? So now we take those 2 pieces that we have, and we're going to bring them together just like that right there, and they are going to be held in place, yep, in 4 spots with an M 3x8 bolt and some more of those lock washers, and they just go in just like we did last time to create the lower leg, just like this right here. Those little bugs are pervasive. Oh, they made me so mad. Here in southern Indiana, we refer to them as stink bugs. I don't know. They have a very unpleasant aroma if you disturb them. It's not horrible, but it's enough to where, like, the dog won't eat one. Maybe it tastes bad. Oh, excuse me. I don't know. You'll have to forgive me. It's past my bedtime right now. But I am going to lock those 4 down. And there we are, all together. Now we get to install this onto the leg. And it's going to go in right there. And this is the trickiest part of this entire endeavor, because you have to put it all together, and it's got to kind of squeeze together in a couple of spots, and it doesn't work the way you think it's supposed to. But right there in the front, you're going to use 2 PB268s to help put it together. Now, let me tell you, you gotta squeeze it together. You gotta make sure that it works and it's flush, because if you don't, it won't work right and you'll end up taking it apart, which I actually end up doing here because I don't know what I'm doing. So I think everything's hunky-dory. I'm putting the screws in right now, and it doesn't work that way because I haven't sealed it. See that big gap there in the leg towards the side there? Yeah, it's got to be flush. It's not going to work if it's not flush. So I actually do end up taking this apart here at some point, trying to figure out exactly what's going on, because I'm not sure. Something doesn't set right. I can't get the screws to line up properly on the sides, and that's a problem. We still have ankle rockers and tilt. Yeah, see that seam there? We're allowed to have a seam, but it's not supposed to be that big. Look at the seam there. It's got to squeeze in together, and it's not squozing. Is that the right word? However it goes. Eventually I do get it, and you've got to make sure that it's as close together as you can get it. If you do it right, it'll all snap in together, and then you can screw it there at the top. See how much better that looks? That's how that's supposed to look. That's how that's supposed to look. Even so, you may end up having to squeeze it together just a little bit when you're putting in the bolts for the sides, which is what I should be getting ready to do right about now. That bolts, the screws, that is, we're going to be doing 4 PB268s, and those are the flare ends. They're going to see how big the screw holes there are, putting them in a little bit of lubricant, and we're going to try to get those in. And again, it takes 4 of them. There's 2 on the lower leg there where I'm trying to put that one in, then right there at the top that you can see, top right where my ring finger is there above it. So we're going to put one in right there, try and get that in. And if it's not, you know you have it right if the screws will catch, the threads will catch. If they don't catch, then that means that you've got it not squeezed in properly. One up top there. We're going to do that on both sides. Get them in nice and tight. This is a heavy unit. Heavy unit. I would say it weighs, the leg may weigh 5-6 pounds. There's a lot of metal in it. I'm just guessing. Yeah, so you got to kind of squeeze that one together a little bit so that you can line up the screw holes and get them where they need to go. Which you got to be careful, because you really don't want to squeeze on something that'll break on you. So get that in there nice and tight. Yep, just like that. And then we have the one up top that we need to get. Sometimes things just don't work the way you think they're supposed to. I don't know if y'all noticed that or not, but I braced the screwdriver on my thumb so that it would go in square and straight and not like shake or anything. Because I've noticed as I get older, I tend to shake just a little bit more than what I did, especially when I was 19. So it's nothing more than age. All right, I'm going to tighten those down. And here in just a moment, we will move on to the next part, which is basically covering up the center part there with the 3 holes. But first, I have to make sure that everything is nice and tight, because I really don't want to be doing this more than once. I say that as I did part 9, which was the same thing. Oh, so what I did was I left them a little loose so that I could always adjust them if I needed to, rather than having to take out something I'd spent so much time trying to get in. Yeah. And that's what that looks like. Still have a little bit of ankle tiltage. This is our next piece. No, that's not. That is not the correct piece. That is not the correct piece, Tom. I know what I'm thinking. It looks like it on the iPad, but it's not the right piece. That is not the right piece, Tom. Let's see, I don't even know what piece that is. I know what piece it's not. That's the correct piece. That is a TR-825. And that just pops in there. No glue's needed. It's secure enough to where it's not going to go anywhere. There you go. Pops right in. Just like that. Now we bring in these two pieces, which are TR-821 and TR-820. And they are going to fill in, they're basically screw covers. They're going to go in right there. And you just gotta look at it, play with them, figure out which one goes where. If you're like me, I don't have the sheet in front of me that tells me where all the parts are in the tray. So I just kind of look at it and figure it out. And right there you can see, do a dry fit, make sure it fits, you know, if it's going to line up. And that one does, I think, maybe? Maybe? Maybe this one's the right one. Really? Maybe? Well, look at that. Works just fine when you get the right piece. Alright, let's put this one on this side then. I see how it will. Go to your home, man. Yeah, give it a nice little squeeze there. There you go. Those two parts are in. Makes it look a little bit better. Now, we come to two filler pieces. And these are TR-815 and TR-814. This really confused me because I kept looking for little, like, I don't know, balls or something to go in there, like a, you know, like a ball joint ball. Only it's a magnet. It's a magnet. And the magnet is TR-833, and there's two of them here. So basically you just put you some glue in there, drop it in there in both sides, let it set for a few minutes, and they were underneath that yellow part in the tray. Took me forever to find them. That's why I was showing you the yellow part. And we just drop those in there with a little glue, let them set. These are just there to help ensure the fact that nothing, you know, comes loose in your joint there. Your screw cover doesn't come off, basically. And then it's just a matter of figuring out, letting the glue dry for a minute, figuring out where those go on the leg, which can be kind of problematic. Zooming out a little bit. We're getting to the point where it's a little bit difficult, challenging to show everything on camera. So those go in the top right there, right at the top of your screen, if you can notice. Right there. That's where those are going to go. And that little stick thing, try not to break it off, but it'll just slip right on there, and that magnet will hold that in place. Oh, if you can get it in there, that is. Don't worry about the polarity of the magnets. Either side will grip the metal. So it's just a matter of finding the correct one. I think that's the wrong one, Tom. Nope, that was the right one that time. And it just fills in that little gap there. Looks fine. Looks fine. Nobody's going to know it unless they're really looking for it. And that fills up the screw holes there. Now we need to, we got the front of it done. We got two sides of it done and the front. So now we need to do, we're going to end up working on the back part of it. Right there. And the piece I have in my hand is a TR-819, and it will be held in place where it goes with two PWB 268s. Excuse me. And these are the non-flare screws. They're just regular screws from what I can tell. Right there is where they go. Yep, they go right there. So I'm going to reach in and get 2 of them. And we're going into plastic, so there shouldn't be any need to add anything other than, you know, just the screws and the piece. I think we've got 3 steps left. That just fits in there. Gonna screw it in place. Go right there. Carefully getting them in place. And I'm just going to go ahead and screw them in. That's what it looks like with those in. Now I have part TR807, and this can only go in one way, just like that. It's going to fit in over what you got there, and you need 4 PWB 2/6/8 to go in here, just like this. And we're using the flare ends. Got 4 of those to put in. Because this was a rickety piece, I didn't want it moving on me. I'm just getting them started. I mean, literally just half turn to get them in there, and then I'll tighten them down in the typical, you know, star pattern, side to side, X pattern, whatever you want to call it. But you can see right there exactly how I'm putting them in. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tighten all 4 of those down and move on to the next part, which just so happens to be really the last thing we have to assemble. So I have 2 parts there. I have the big flat black piece is the TR826, and a little small piece there in my right hand is the TR828. And that goes in. You got to kind of figure out exactly where it goes in. It's not happy sometimes. You just got to line it up right and then push it in place and try not to break the little plastic studs so that they go through the holes. That piece right there is a TR827, and you're supposed to, it doesn't say you're supposed to glue that, but I think maybe it should. Regardless, that goes in there with the top part pointing up that way. It just kind of connects there. And there's another bug rolling around on the screen there to your left. Oh, those bugs. Honestly, I really want to drop some glue in there because I think it needs it. It's not really very stable. Oh, and there's a bug in the middle of the thing. I'm not kidding, folks. They're everywhere. Shoo, go away. Anyway, you gotta laugh in life, folks. If you can't laugh, life's not much fun. I'm really wanting to put some glue on that. I really am. Seems like I remember putting the glue on it, but we sure enough do. Just a little bit to make sure. The directions don't call for it, and it may never come loose, but there's enough wiggle room in there so that I kind of felt like it needed it. Because where it's going on, it's not flush there at the back, so I wanted to make sure there was a little bit of glue on those spots just to make sure it didn't go anywhere. It just has to move once and then you've got a bad day, right? With those clips the way they are there on the sides, it could very easily, you know, if you had to take that part off and try to put it back on, you might scuff your paint or something on his leg, and you don't want to do that. That part right there is the TR818, the one I was trying to put in earlier. That goes over top of this piece. So we bring over our leg. This is going to go right there. Yep. Raise up my camera there. That piece comes in right there. Goes in. Just snaps in. But now for some reason the collar piece causes a little bit of issue. You just got to push it in, make sure that it's in there nice and solid. And then we bring in this piece here, making sure that the glue has dried a little bit. Yeah, it's not going to go anywhere. And we'll just push that in place like that, and that'll sit right there. Well done. Just a very, very few things left to go here. This is TR-830. It literally just comes in and just pops in place. No glue, no nothing, just pops right in there. You just got to make sure you line it up right. Make sure you get the studs in the holes. There you go, just like that. Make sure it's pushed in place. Yep, just like that. So the very last two things we have to do here is we have to pull out that yellow piece, we have to pull out that piece right there, and those two are held together with two PWB 2/6/8. Yep, two of them. And it's trying to run away from me. Time to put them in place there. Alright, there's another one. Tighten them down. Where did they go? Put that right there. We're almost done here, folks. I know this video's been going on at this point for almost 50 minutes. Well, for past 50 minutes. We're not too far from being done. All we have to do is basically put that part in, and it just kind of slides in that slot right there. Right there. Yep. Snaps in place, just like that. And that basically is the completed piece. Just make sure it's in there. Now again, the ninth part of this is exactly like this one. And part 10 we build the hips and everything else. So yeah, we're doing pretty good so far. It looks really nice. Can't complain at all. Still have your ankle tiltage. It's a very nice looking leg. It's quite heavy as well. But we got the other one there. That is actually part 9's leg. It's done. It's finished at this point. I went ahead and did it, even though I didn't have a sound for that one either. So yeah, well, it's all good. It's all fine. That's a little wiggly. I really don't care for that, but I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it will be fine in the end. Yep. Oop. My ugly mug. There was the there's the arm showing that I've lost the smokestack. I gotta fix that. That's just not right. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. More glue will probably solve the problem, and I think it'll be all right. I'm really enjoying these packs. I'm looking forward to the end result, and I'm wondering just exactly what I'm going to do with it when I'm done with it. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it will be fine. And I'm looking forward to getting that one to look just like that one, and I will. Anyway, I will see you at the next review.
And thank you for watching my Papa's channel. Please subscribe and like. Thank you.
Vitamin John. Operators are standing by.